we were actually supposed to record a full combat sports boxing podcast with our friend Garrity McCosker. You can check out his blog. It'll be in the link in the description.
Yeah, if you're really into boxing, I highly recommend it.
He's actually a boxer himself, and he does a weekly
super consistent
newsletter
every week, every single fight. I mean, I heard about the fight we're going to talk about today because of Garrity. I mean, you texted me too, but like his newsletter, and I'm being serious too. I'm not even trying to market it for him. Like he actually will sit there and write out.
What Daniel's saying is he's not paying us to promote him.
Yeah,
so
that's
the only time we're going to do this too.
Yeah. No, we've done it before. But
anyways, it was a big weekend of fights. You know, UFC had a pay-per-view, and there was a very big heavyweight boxing match on Showtime. In Brooklyn, of all things. So full disclosure, I did not watch the entire UFC card. You know, I just watched the boxing, and then I watched the co-main event of the UFC.
You didn't watch Cyborg?
No, I didn't
demolish
watch
the other girl?
I have no interest in watching Cyborg. I mean, we can touch on that later. But so the Showtime card started off with a rematch of Andre Dirrell versus Jose Uzcategui. It was a controversial fight the first time because Andre Dirrell got hit after the bell, and he sold the shit out of it. Got a DQ out of it. So they did a rematch. A lot of people said that Uzcategui was winning the first fight. And I guess I didn't watch the first fight, but the second time around, it was a continuation of the first because he was putting it on him.
I didn't see
the entire fight. He was, Andre Dirrell was, he had his moments where he was very elusive, threw back a few punches, but for the most part, I'm going to say it was a pretty one-sided fight. I still enjoyed it, The other part of the controversy in the first fight was that Andre Dirrell's trainer went to the corner after the DQ, and he punched Uzcategui in the face and started a whole brawl in the ring.
I think I saw this.
And he got fired. He's no longer his coach anymore. Andre Ward actually trained him for this fight. But I think this is the end of the road for Andre Dirrell. I mean, at this point, for me, he's officially a gatekeeper. He's going to be a tough fight for some young fighters, but I just don't see him ever reaching that level. But this other guy, Uzcategui, he's got bombs. Dude can hit, and he's aggressive. He's a little slow.
Did he win?
Yeah, he won by knockout. As a TKO, actually. It was funny, when you watch him, he seems so slow. His punches seemed like just molasses in the air, but they were still...
when they hit you,
but they were still connecting. So, I mean, it's a testament to timing. You don't always have to be the fastest fighter if you get your timing right. And his timing was on point.
That's all you do. Timing. I feel like timing has to be one of the most important things.
Absolutely. A lot of we get caught up in a lot of people's natural...
I mean, timing was a big thing for the main event. I felt like that was...
Well, we'll get to that. I don't know if I agree with that, but the main event of the fight, though, was very, very important. Right now, we are we haven't had a good heavyweight division in years. Don't
even have one in UFC.
I mean, you could make the argument that when Mike Tyson was back there, was fighting,
there still wasn't one.
It was a terrible heavyweight division. I think for a little while, when Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield had their thing going on, it was Riddick Bowe. You had a few heavyweights that were solid, but right now you have three. Luis Ortiz is an elite heavyweight. He's been defeating everybody. He was undefeated.
He's undefeated, yeah.
Up until this fight, Deontay Wilder. A lot of questions for this guy because he was 39-0 with 38 knockouts. But if you look at his resume, there's a lot of cans. So this was going to be his first test, and he did get tested. He was, in my accounts, he was losing every single round up until, I want to say, the 5th round. He got a knockdown.
Yeah, that was timing. That's why I brought it up.
And then the 6th and 7th round. The 7th round, he was going down, and I thought the ref was going to stop the fight.
If there was 20 seconds left,
he would have been done.
It would have been over.
He would have been done. And then, and this is the one bit of controversy I have for that fight. He got a little bit of extra rest after that 7th round, like something like.
Oh, when they did that weird shit, I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like that seemed like very.
The ref was like
very boxing shady. Very boxing shady. He got an extra 30 seconds rest out of it.
That's why I hate boxing, man. It's little shit like that.
That sucked. Well, I mean, they do it in the UFC too. Like a guy sits on a stool for a little bit longer and something happens. I mean, it's not. But definitely, this is.
Well, not by.
There was no denying that.
Not by the ref, though.
No, but by the trainer. By the trainer.
The ref did this one.
Yeah,
this fight.
absolutely.
The ref pulled him aside and was like, check his eye.
I mean, there's a controversy with Yoel Romero the first time he fought.
Yeah, and he threw himself with water or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, I get it. It's a tactic. Yeah. I get it.
It's showmanship. But this felt. The problem with this one was it was.
And it was right after he just got knocked and.
Done by the ref. Because, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like, if Luis Ortiz wins this fight, that doesn't do anything for the heavyweight division. The guy doesn't speak English. He's a Cuban fighter. He's old too. Like, we don't know. They say he's 38, but he's a Cuban 38, so he might be almost 50 years old.
Yoel Romero's
exactly
39,
another guy.
He fucking looks like he's 29.
Right.
I'm just, but the thing is, so
like on a money level, Luis Ortiz winning doesn't do anything. You know, at least here in the States. But we saw Wilder get tested.
Do you think they'll do a rematch?
Not immediately. If they do, it'll be after.
That's why I don't like boxing.
Well, there's no need for the rematch. This was a tournament. This is like an unofficial tournament for the heavyweight title because Anthony Joshua's fighting Joseph Parker next month.
Oh, I didn't know it was this.
And
I thought he was already the. See, that's the other thing about boxing. I don't know anything.
Well, yeah, because of the separate.
I thought he had a belt. I thought this was for the championship.
Yeah, Wilder has a belt, but I think Anthony Joshua is considered the lineal champion.
See, so that's already confusing to me.
Because he beat Klitschko. Well, it's just different. I
get it. I understand what you're saying.
I mean, there's good and bad things about it.
He's not the undisputed champion.
No, definitely not. And a lot of people think Anthony Joshua is the next great one. But then there's also other things involved as well. You know, the one thing we can say for sure is that boxing is still huge in Europe, especially in England. Anthony Joshua's an English fighter. He could sell out Wembley. And Wembley Stadium's like 100,000. See, can you look up what the seating is for Wembley Stadium?
I mean, it has. Even in Australia, which I know is in England, but when Manny Pacquiao went out and they did that outdoor boxing, Wimbledon,
90,000. Anthony Joshua sells out Wembley.
No,
there's no American fighter that'll do that here. Floyd Mayweather won't do 90,000.
Not even Canelo. Canelo will sell out a stadium, not a major stadium, but he can sell out.
I think he'll do 45, 50.
Yeah.
90,000 though. I mean, maybe Mexico. You know, where the tickets are.
That's
fucking
another thing too.
30 pesos.
You got to get some steroid meat too.
Yeah, we could talk about that too. But a lot of people were not taking Deontay Wilder seriously because of who he's fought. He finally got
like LeBron James.
He finally got some real competition. He went through adversity and he ends up knocking Luis Ortiz out brutally too. And that's the thing
He looked sloppy though. Both of them look sloppy.
I think Luis Ortiz looked
better.
I think Luis Ortiz was fighting to his opponent. He was using.
Oh yeah, that's why he was dominating. Yeah. That's why he was winning.
And he was using his weird awkwardness against him. You know, but it's just like baseball, man. Like power kills, dude. Speed.
It only takes one hit.
All it takes, and when you can hit home runs, man, it doesn't matter how many times you strike out. Does not matter. And I think Deontay Wilder showed that. And a lot of people they're saying, oh, he looked terrible. Like Anthony Joshua's going to tear him up. And I'm like, you know what, guys? Did you not watch Anthony Joshua versus 97-year-old Vladimir Klitschko?
Didn't he almost lose?
He almost got knocked out, and then he came back and he knocked him out in the last round. But you know, whatever, dude. The guy's old. He's been chinny his entire career. You know, that's fine. He knocked him out. It was impressive. He didn't look great in that fight. And then he just fought a can as a little warm-up fight. Didn't look that great in that fight either. Like, I think people are overestimating Anthony Joshua, especially versus Deontay Wilder. Because say what you want about his technique. If he lands one of those bombs,
well, that's what I was going to say.
You're going down.
And even beyond that, Ortiz hit him with bombs too.
Yeah.
And he was able to. I mean, we already agreed that he probably
would have got knocked out. In the seventh round, he got rocked a little bit, but he
still stood the test.
He
of
took
time.
7 rounds of those shots from Ortiz. So that'll say something. He has a chin. If anybody was curious if he could take a shot,
clearly
he could take a shot. Clearly,
not many, but he can take them. And
the only thing I really want them to work on is he just didn't throw any jabs. I felt like he was not using his length at all. He was letting Ortiz get inside on him.
And I'm sure if you asked him today, he'd say that was all part of the plan.
Yeah, which is full of shit.
Yeah, because you don't. No boxer wants to get beat up for fucking 7 rounds and then all of a sudden pull it out.
I do believe that he wanted to take Ortiz into the later rounds because he's bigger, he's tired. He's known to not have. I mean, no heavyweight has a great gas tank, but especially
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, Wilder's only weighed in 213 pounds for this fight, dude. That's insane. All right, guy's 6'7", 213 pounds. He's a basketball player out there. So
that's why I said LeBron James.
He's not laboring. He's not. Well, LeBron James weighs 280 pounds.
I know LeBron James is bigger than him. Yeah. When I was watching him, I'm like, man, I'd love to watch LeBron fight. Just have him put him in the ring.
If LeBron had decided to be a boxer instead of a basketball player, I think,
or even a fucking MMA person,
he would have murdered
people.
He would have murdered a lot of people.
Just his fucking hand, like, just, anyway, he's a
big, strong guy.
But, you know, overall, to be honest, just to talk on the fight, it really wasn't that entertaining.
You didn't think so?
I mean, I know Brendan Schaub said it was like one of the best heavyweight fights in recent. It was.
Oh man, I disagree. That fight was action packed from bell to bell. I thought it was a great fight.
You know what it is, genuinely, and I wholeheartedly mean this. UFC, and I said this before, it's just tainted my boxing experience. It's
I don't know.
Unless they're slugging each other, like, because I enjoyed the Canelo Triple G fight. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I enjoyed it because they were exchanging blows with one another. This one just felt sloppy. I just felt like, genuinely, I felt like. Again, I'm not a boxer, so this is why it's going to come off stupid. It's going to come off arrogant and ignorant, etc., etc. But they just look like they were brawling in there. They didn't look like they were boxing. They kind of looked like they were just. They both looked out of shape, and they both looked like they didn't know what they were doing. Now that's not the case. I know that. I know that that's not the case. But that's as an observer. I don't know if it's the camera work or what.
It could be. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. I personally thought it was a really entertaining fight, and I'm of the opinion that a great boxing match trumps a great mixed martial arts match every day of the week. Twice on Sunday.
It's just not.
I feel like there's a lot.
There's a lot more lulls. I feel like in boxing.
Well, you could say the same thing about mixed martial arts when they go grapple.
Well, but see,
you know,
that's how I was when I first started watching, without a shadow of a doubt. And maybe it's because I don't watch boxing enough. So I'm copying that it's not.
I can tell you right now, the Tyron Woodley Wonder Boy matches, those are both
boring.
Snooze fest. It's why Tyron Woodley can't get a big fight right now.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
So there's a lot. I mean, it goes both ways. You know, I mean, Floyd Mayweather's fights are boring as shit. You know, and that's even with him being great technically, because you know he sidesteps a punch, he throws one punch, he grabs you. You know. You don't want to see that. And it's
I guess that's true. There was no
grabbing
of
a wrestler taking someone down and blanketing them.
There was no grab. There's no grabbing.
No, there was none.
There was no grabbing. There was no.
They were swinging the entire time.
Just when they were getting knocked, and where you can tell like they had to hold it. And I mean, overall, I don't know. It just didn't. I like the Klitschko fight better than this one.
Fair enough, but anyways, I think we need to get into like I already mentioned the importance of this fight. Like Anthony Joshua's going to fight Joshua Parker, and I believe whoever wins that, they're going to do a super fight between Wilder, and they're assuming that Anthony Joshua's going to beat Joshua Parker.
See, I don't know why they just don't fucking have Joshua fight Wilder and have it be that, and that's it.
Well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with they're different promotions. They have different. You know, and
more reasons to not like that. But
money's involved too. Money's involved too. Like, how much money does Wilder want? He's not an A-side. He can't even sell out stadiums.
How much
here in
are
the
they
US.
even making? How much are these fights even making?
Dude, 80,000 seats in Wembley, or 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium is making a lot of money.
Oh, well, I'm thinking about pay-per-view and stuff. I guess that's not where the money is for these fighters.
I mean, that's part of it. Like, that fight will sell out in Europe easily.
Sure, but
they will sell tons of pay-per-views in Europe. Maybe not here in the States. It'll be a harder one to push, but that's also on his promoter. Like, you need to push it. He was an Olympian. He's undefeated. He's from Alabama. You know, like, you need to push like the latest, the greatest heavyweight, American heavyweight since Mike Tyson, something, or Evander Holyfield. Like, really push that up. That's what, if I'm in charge of his marketing, that's what I'm doing. I'm really trying to push this out there because
for what's his
for
name?
the American audience, for Deontay Wilder.
For Wilder, yeah.
You know,
but he can't talk either. I feel like in today's day and age, you need to talk. You need to talk. I mean,
I feel like not as much for boxing, man.
I don't know.
You know,
I mean, again, if pay-per-view numbers are the deciding factor in whether or not a fight makes money, if you're selling out a stadium and you're selling tickets for $50, $60 plus, then maybe you're in the bank. You're in the clear.
That fight's definitely making money.
But I'm just saying,
Anthony Joshua's going to make a lot of coin whoever he fights.
I believe that the heavyweight division and just in general, there's just no one to root for. There's no one to.
I mean, this fight didn't sell you on Deontay Wilder. You know, that's fine. But for me, I was not a fan, and this fight made me a fan of his, and I'm like really hoping that he does well.
I guess because I'm just not in the boxing.
But I'm also waiting for Tyson Fury to make his comeback. Because that's a guy we haven't really talked about. But Tyson Fury was the champ, and he liked the booger sugar. He also had like a bout with depression as well. So he hasn't fought since 2015. He ballooned all the way up to 400 pounds as well. Like, he really let himself go. But he's trying to make his comeback now. He has skills for a heavyweight that you may have never seen before. Like, his hands are fast. His footwork is phenomenal.
Not at 400 pounds.
Even at 400 pounds. I saw a video of his fat ass. Like, and his hands are still... quick.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He'd get the kill me.
I mean, he destroyed Klitschko. That's the funny thing about what a lot of people are saying about Anthony Joshua was they say, oh, this is the best Klitschko's ever looked. But then when he fought Tyson Fury, they're like, oh, he looked terrible. Like, he looks way past his prime. He needs to retire after he fought Tyson Fury, which is just how people are amazing. They want to make the narrative. They want to create whatever narrative they want to. But I think there's a good chance that Tyson Fury handles both Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fairly easily because of his lack of skill. So I'm hoping that's what I'm hoping for. Like, I really hope we get this Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua fight, and then we see Tyson Fury make his comeback.
The funny thing is, and this is the one genuine complaint I have with boxing: you lose once, you're out. That's why I feel like records are fucking meaningless in boxing.
I mean, you definitely
genuinely meaningless.
It used to be the case back then. Now more than now, because now more guys are losing. But I mean, obviously Floyd Mayweather is a prime example. He fought Conor McGregor for his 50th fight.
Yeah, but if Wilder wins 10 more fights, he's going to be up there.
And I mentioned that. Like, his
resume's
question. He fought Joe the Plumber. He fought Bill the Butcher.
He's not fighting Anthony Joshua next. He's fighting some other person, maybe.
In his defense, he's been calling out Anthony Joshua for the past year and a half.
Sure, okay, but I'm just saying in general,
Joshua's promoter is the one that's not making that fight happen.
But let's say he fights. I don't know who he's gonna. Let's say he fights someone before Joshua and he loses. Well, there goes the Joshua fight.
I mean, and rightfully so.
I don't agree with that.
If he loses, I mean, that's how it is in the UFC too. What are you talking about, dude?
Not always. Not always.
The only time you get a good fight is if you lose to the champ.
Well, see, here's the thing.
If you're competitive versus the champ. If you lose to some guy, if Daniel Cormier would have lost to Ozdemir.
Well, he would have got a rematch because he was a champion, but that's not my point.
He would have been done.
In UFC, no.
If he got brutally knocked out in the first round, he's done. The only reason why, and UFC, you get punished for losing in the first round. If you go,
that's not my point,
if you go all 5 rounds, my point is, if you lose your fight, you're going to get jumped over by somebody else.
There's a ranking system in the UFC where you can see numbers. You can see, okay, if Daniel lost, he might go down to 8, which wouldn't happen. But let's just say he did. But at least we know where he ranks. Boxing, you lose once, there's no fucking ranks. You might not ever fight. Like, you literally go back from the bottom. I mean, that's how much these... I mean, because, what, Triple G...
Yeah, but then
Triple G
at the same time, the UFC rankings are bullshit.
Sure, I'm not...
What's his face? What's the Brazil... Jose Aldo is still the #1 contender after he got starched. But the last 3 fights he's lost, and he's been starched in all 3 fights.
I'm okay with that because I still want to see Jose Aldo fight someone. I'm okay with seeing that. The fact that you can see him fight someone else again...
But that has nothing to do with rankings.
It's just the way UFC handles itself because Dana's in control, and I get that. But what I'm saying is...
Well, it's not just that, but it's because they have everyone's under the same promoter. It's a monopoly. That's the difference.
Triple G and Canelo, when they fight again, and no matter who loses, they'll both be able to fight again, right? Because they're that big. But if they lose, it is what it is. But anyone else...
If Triple G were to get knocked out, like an early knockout...
he's older, though. So, like, that's...
But his star is not big enough, where if... You know, he's big amongst hardcore boxing fans, but if Triple G were to get starched, he's done. Canelo, on the other hand,
I don't agree with that.
Absolutely, he's not a pay-per-view draw.
Well, the thing is he's older, though. I'm saying
but he's never been a big star. That's the thing. He's still not a star. Only hardcore fans
see, that's
know
the other
who Triple
thing,
G
too.
is.
It's all about star power.
I mean, that's the name of the game.
I know. That's why there's so many fucking boxers.
No, but you see, you can't use that example because you can do the same thing with MMA. The UFC's pay-per-views are going through the tank right now because they have no stars. People are not buying those fights. They're oversaturated and they don't have enough people to build upon. Have you heard about this big card they're proposing? They're gonna have like July. 5 title fights on it. So because they have no stars because none of those guys can drive a pay-per-view card by themselves.
That's fine for me. I'll go watch.
That's fine for you. But what I'm saying is like it's there's no star power in the UFC right now.
I don't know. That's not. I guess that really wasn't my point of debate or contention.
No, I know what you're saying. Like if you lose once, it kind of ruins your career in boxing. And I
39-1, you're fucked. If you're 39-1 in the MMA, you're one of the greatest of all time.
I mean, Vladimir Klitschko lost more than 4 or 5 times. Lennox Lewis lost more than once, twice. I mean,
But are people doing that today, though?
Yeah, well, I'm telling you. Now, I'm saying back in the day, it hurt you more than now. Now you can lose a fight, but most of it has to do with how competitive was the fight. You know, if you're getting knocked out in the first round by a nobody,
I don't know.
I mean, you don't deserve to be around it because it's not like MMA. Like MMA, I'll forgive someone for getting knocked out because the knockouts in MMA are flukier than they are in boxing. In boxing, you get knocked out. It's because you either didn't show up to train or the guy was just that much better than you. But anyways, let's talk real quick. I only watched the one fight. I watched Brian T-City Ortega versus Frankie Edgar. I've never been a Frankie Edgar fan, so I was really happy
that he got knocked the fuck
see
out.
Him. And I felt kind of bad afterwards too. I just never liked his style. I've always felt like he was. A lot of people say he's like this real tough guy, whatever. But I just felt like he never took the big risks. Like he did enough, like to win.
But he got by on talent. And
not so much a talent. He's a hard worker. I'm not saying he's not a hard worker, but I mean, like, he didn't finish fights. He was never a fight finisher. Everything was kind of like, you know, he did enough. I guess it started because I used to be a big BJ Penn fan, and I thought that first fight, BJ Penn won just barely, but then he starts BJ the second time. But it was still like a lot of just, I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of safety to his fighting style.
I mean, you can't really hate the guy for that because.
Oh, I could totally hate the guy for that. I mean, I mean,
you can, but you're in the ring with someone else and you're fighting to the death.
I feel like
pretty much. I mean,
if you're fighting to the death, then you should be trying to kill your opponent. You shouldn't be trying to wound them.
That's true. But I mean, I genuinely believe
that's my biggest issue with GSP. Like for years, he was just
because he can wrestle, he can control you, right? That's his whole thing.
And it made for boring fights. It made for some of the worst fights.
Just like Tyron Woodley.
Absolutely.
Which is why they're saying that that's what they want as a super fight, Tyron and GSP.
That'll be the terrible fight. I have no interest
just two
in that.
wrestlers.
But let's talk about Brian Ortega, man. I feel like nobody thought he really had that big a chance.
The future champ, because there's no way he doesn't.
Max Holloway's pretty good, man.
He is. Talking about good fights, that's a good fight.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everything that's been thrown at Brian, he's kind of just brushed off. Everything. Oh, I wonder how he's going to handle against Frankie striking-wise and this and that. Knocks the fucker out. Like, I mean, Cub Swanson. Just the shit he's been able to do.
Well, yeah, his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. I haven't seen enough of his fights. I've only seen like maybe three or I've seen like 3 or 4 of his fights. I don't know if he's faced any adversity, if he's been clipped, if he's, been taken down. Is that his fault, though? No, but
it's like Francis Ngannou,
It's like a lot of things happen. His fault or not, that's one thing. If you've never experienced it, you don't know how you're going to react to it. So that's always my big concern is if he gets pressure put on him, he doesn't know what to do because he's always been the aggressor. The one thing that I really noticed in this fight was how much smaller Frankie Edgar was compared to.
Well, they're Max Holloway and Brian are the same size.
Yeah, they're big 145ers for sure.
Which makes it even more interesting to me.
Yeah, the size isn't going to be an issue between those two, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think of that fight, Max Holloway? Like, let's just break down their strengths.
I mean, I just think you have to stay on the feet. If you go down, the advantage is Brian all day.
I think so.
All day.
I'll give you that.
When Brian got Frankie in a headlock,
yeah,
very early on, and the whole crowd fucking erupted because even me, I'm like, oh, it's over.
Yeah,
that's it. Just a headlock. I'm like, that's over. It's it. I immediately thought that, and then obviously it didn't end that way. And then he eventually
his
won.
Guillotine is incredible.
But it was just like, that was it.
Yeah.
So if they go to the ground, but he knocked out Frankie Edgar.
Right.
So it's not like his striking is shitty.
No, it's not terrible striking, but I would definitely give Max Holloway the
advantage. But I mean, it's just like you said with timing.
Yeah.
That elbow was perfectly timed.
Right.
I didn't expect it. I didn't even see it at all. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's down.
Yeah.
And then once he connected it and then you watch the replay, and it was perfect.
And then that uppercut that he pulled out of his asshole. Like,
that's another. But I'm saying, but
that was like video game uppercut where you like wind all the way back and boom.
He's trying to top Francis Ngannou's uppercut.
That was brutal, man.
But that also lends itself to my point, which is you got to pull that out of your ass somewhere. Yeah. Which means it needs to be up your ass.
He did it too because he pushed off. Like he pushed
knew
him
what
off
he was doing
to make the space. Dude's a cool character.
Which is why
really
so that's what makes me think
he might not get rattled. Absolutely.
Because the fact that you said, well, he hasn't faced adversity, and we both say it's not exactly his fault. That also could lend itself to we don't actually know what he's truly capable of either, because he hasn't been pushed to his limits.
Right.
So that's why I hope they go 5 rounds. I hope it's a slobber knocker. I hope they go to the ground on some rounds and then fucking Max proves that he's a champion and gets out of it or whatever. I mean, that would be awesome. That's what we want to see, in my opinion. I don't want to see a knockout in the first round. I don't want to see a submission in the first round. I want to see them battle it out.
I mean, I'm okay with first round knockouts if they're like amazingly brutal.
Sure, but you get what I'm saying though. Like, there's nothing more disappointing than being so hyped for a fight and then Mike Tyson comes in and then
30 seconds.
just ends the fight.
No, I'm with you on that. Like that's the worst. Like the best fights are the ones that go all 5 rounds and they're just action packed the entire time.
Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, both of them. I mean, well, not both of them, but the second one where they went the full distance.
Right.
But so for me, I think it's a wash up. I think Vegas will give the odds to Max because he's the champion.
Right.
But
I mean, that's definitely a fight. If you have some extra money, that's something to drop on Ortega.
Because I think it's genuinely a coin toss.
I think, and then there's just questions about Max Holloway too. Like, who's he fought really? Like the best person he's fought is Aldo. Aldo's a little past his prime. He also fought him after McGregor like stole his soul.
He did. He literally has not been the same since that.
And this was a few years ago, but McGregor did beat Holloway when they fought. So McGregor has that over Holloway. He likes to talk shit about it on Twitter too. Just to throw that out there. Even though he's probably never going to go back down to 145.
Yeah.
But, But
I think...
So, I mean, it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited for it. I really...
Well, I hope they fight on that July 8th card that we're talking about. Because I'm looking more forward to Stipe DC.
Right.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm looking forward to a potential Brock John Jones.
Me too.
Fight.
That'd be fucking badass.
No testing.
No, well, that's not going to happen, but that'd be badass.
Yeah. Anyways, let's wrap this up real quick. You brought up Canelo earlier in the cast. I think, from what I hear, he was the one that wanted WADA testing. Like, he was demanding that there was testing, and then he ends up getting popped for clenbuterol, which is a recovery steroid. But they did say that the amount that he had in his system is consistent with tainted meat in Mexico.
Fucking Mexicans, man.
It's just kind of, I still feel like, dude.
He was doing it because he knew that was the level?
I mean, who knows? But I feel like if that's the case, you should know better. And it's the same thing with John Jones. You should know better. You should know what you're putting into your body. You should know. You should be getting meat from somewhere else other than the corner carniceria.
Well,
you know what I mean?
To be fair,
especially with the money that he makes.
Oh no, that's the shadow of a doubt.
Well, that's cheap meat.
To be fair though, John Jones allegedly got busted because he was mixing his cocaine with creatine because I guess it cuts cocaine.
Yeah, well that's
that's different. I feel like that's different as opposed to like innocently eating meat.
Right.
And then whatever. Because, I mean, maybe Canelo likes to just travel around these little villages and shit, and then, like, some Mexicans...
Well, we'd have to look and see how much meat do you need to eat to have that shit get into your system.
That's true, too. I mean, it could be one fucking piece of... one taco, and then all of a sudden you're fucked. Exactly. I don't know. Because then we have to determine, like, how small are these trace amounts? Like, how much... Right. Because I don't know anything about these tests. I just read the articles.
Well, I just hope it doesn't derail the fight.
I don't think it will. Because it already seemed like everything was gonna be fine because he was willing to move the camp to the United States.
Now you got questions, man. Now people are... It definitely puts a cloud over... and he got gifted the draw the first time they fought too. So
because he definitely lost.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I mean, it's going on? I still feel like that's the biggest boxing fight this year. There's no bigger draw than those
definitely.
two.
Those are Canelo.
Just because of Canelo.
Canelo's still the big name. I gotta commend Mexicans because they're definitely keeping
Cinco
boxing
de Mayo.
alive.
That's why it's gonna be keeping it alive in America. I feel like because who's American? Really?
Right.
Like,
I mean, all the Mexicans here who think that Cinco de Mayo is like a national holiday don't know better. That's actually a celebration in Puebla. No one in Mexico celebrates.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying, but that's an American
no,
thing.
it's like St. Patty's Day. It's like, oh, it's Mexican Day. Let's do it, Holmes. Gonna get drunk all day.
And Mexicans they subscribe to that. Yeah. They definitely go along with it.
Yeah, Tecate and Corona sells out like a motherfucker that day.
Yep.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments as well. And hopefully, with this Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury talk, we get a few more of you UKers involved with in this discussion. And just throwing it out there, I am Team Deontay Wilder and Team Tyson Fury, not Team Anthony Joshua. I think he's a little bit overrated. And
I don't have a team because I don't care for boxing.
He doesn't care, so he's just ruining it. I don't even know why he's here right now. So we'll see you next time.